Greetings, everyone. I'm Dianne Thomas, and welcome back to my Certified High Performance Coaching Training Series in support of Dianne's CHPC Recertified Project 2017. It's an online crowdfunding campaign hosted at Generosity by Indiegogo. It was launched April 17th to help you raise the funds I'll need to certify as a Certified High Performance Coach in June. Now, the campaign runs through May 26th, and there's a link below this video for you to get connected, either as a contributor, thank you very much in advance, or as a partner, because I'm still looking for goods and services that I can offer as incentives to people who come by the site. So hopefully you have a moment and be interested to go check that out. Now, this training series will run along with the campaign through May 26th. And it's been created to help give you some foundational understanding of what Certified High Performance Coaching is and give you some familiarity with the foundational principles that we use with our clients to help get to high, elevated, and sustained levels of achievement. And it's crafted around what we call the 5 pillars of high performance: clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence. Now, I have been over the last few weeks addressing each one of those pillars each weekday. So on Monday was clarity, Tuesdays is courage, Tuesdays is energy, Wednesday is courage, Thursday is productivity, and Friday is influence. So today's Friday, and Fitting In-Fluence Friday is what I've dubbed it, particularly because I wanted to give special attention to something that we do all the time, but we're taking it for granted, or we're just not as focused as we need to be in terms of the impact that we're having on the people in our circles and the impact that those people are having on us. Now, as high achievers, we know that there's much we can do around getting clear about our goals and things we want to do around feeling more energized and having the vivation that we need and the vibrance that we need to get through our day, to face the courage in terms of having that foundational boldness that we need to show up in life, and knowing how to use our time productively so we get more done. And all of that comes together and helps us then move towards being more influential, because when we have all those things in place, we have some foundation to build on. So I wanted us to just take some particular time around that. So we've covered over previous videos what influence is. It's essentially, it's a word that originated from the Italians, and the term influenza, which we know as the flu. They use it to describe a number of contagious diseases. But what we need to remember about it really is, at its root, what it means is to flow into. So it's something that we use to describe how we impact other people and how other people impact us. And we do all of this through understanding that we have a power as high achievers, as I mentioned before, to get and to receive levels of influence that will get us to exemplify who we really came here to be. And when we do that, we're thinking in particular of 3 areas of influence: our thoughts as regards critical thinking, the challenges that we place to each other, and the way we show up, the way we role model how to be, and how those role models affect us. And so over the last few weeks, I've challenged you with a couple questions to help you think about how you can be more persuasive and what the approach should be for you, and understanding what influence and that role and what it plays in your life. So I challenged you first off to think about influence in a way that it's always empowering and engaging and inspiring people. That's the first thing that we need to understand. And so when we're looking at that, we looked at these 3 questions. The first question was, who can I influence to think a certain way? And then what would they need to believe to think that certain way? What would I like to challenge someone to do to think more broadly and more expansively and envision a bigger, better life for themselves, and why that goal is something that they should work towards achieving. And then how do I need to demonstrate, or how do I need to show up to be more influential with people in my life? So last week we addressed the first question, which was about who would I like to influence to think a certain way, and what would they need to believe, that certain thing that they need to believe to move in that direction. This week we're going to look at the second question, which is going to get us moving more towards the actual interaction that we have. Now, the question from last week, as we explored it, what we realized there were some caveats to that approach, because we know trust has to be at the core of everything that we do. And we use our influence to engage, to inspire, and to empower, as I mentioned before, the object of our persuasion, so to speak. Because two things have to be in place before we're able to do anything as regards that. First off, they need to understand that we want the best for them. We genuinely care about their outcomes, what happens to them. We genuinely want them to succeed and win. And secondly, they not only need to know that, but they need to know it and then want it for themselves. Critically important. Now, at the core of all of this is recognizing that, of course, we have to build trust, as I mentioned before, to present any type of life-altering changes to anyone. The person that you're talking to has to process through courage. And as I've spoken to and addressed in my courage videos, there are some avoidance motivators that can affect how smoothly we move from one state of being to another. And that being loss pain, process pain, and outcome pain. And so anytime either we're challenged to move to another space of being, or we're challenging someone else, we need to keep that in mind and know that once people know we're coming to them and we want the best for them, it may be a little easier for them to accept the challenge for themselves. And once we've earned that trust position with this individual, then it's much easier to explore any life-altering changes because there's that trust that's already built in there. So when we're looking at the question for this week, what challenge could I give to someone to help them envision an exciting future for themselves, and why that future will be something good for them? We know, it's an intriguing question when you hear it. So let's just delve in there and explore it a little bit. Now, we have many roles that we play in people's lives, and people play different roles in ours. Teachers, parents, supervisors, best friends, they all have a particular place in our lives and in our worlds. And these are people that we interact with perhaps relatively often. They carry some significant relevance in our lives in terms of the quality of our lives, in terms of our careers, and in terms of any futures that we're seeing for ourselves. They play a significant role. And these relationships can be premised on some formulations in the way that we interact with them. So there's the authority in terms of perhaps an employer-employee type of relationship, or the shared goals in terms of a spouse or a business partner, for instance. There's the affirmation and love that we have and we share as parents and as children, and with our children, and with other loved ones, relatives, best friends. Now, with these formulations, they then assume certain liberties that we may take and others feel they can take with us. And it also comes with some responsibility, again, in terms of the trust issue. But it also exposes us to some vulnerabilities as well. And when it comes to that, when we're close to people, we know the deep, dark secrets. And we then say that to them, not necessarily in that way, but we let them know, hey, look, I know you better than you know yourself. You've heard that being said before, and if you've had it said to you or you've said it to someone else. And there's certain, like I said, certain things that we take for granted in the roles that we play and the way that we interact with one another. But, I would caution you in those intimate relationships or very familial relationships to not assume that you have unspoken permission to use your influence just because of that familiarity. When you consider challenging someone and issuing a challenge that's going to result, or you're hoping is going to result in some kind of life-changing or life-altering outcome, be sure that it's something that they will truly benefit from, not just what you see for them. Now, this is a question that causes us to be honest with ourselves, because even though we know, and a lot of people know, if I'm getting that persuasion from someone, I know there's probably some things I could fix or change, or some things that I could do a little differently. And, other people, when you're talking to them, there may be some things they know as well, but that may not be sufficient motivation to move them off of the spot they've become very comfortable in to where you see them moving, this potential lovely reality that you have in your mind for them. I mean, I can recall countless situations where I've had conversations with family and friends premised on and prefaced by something they've said to me that I've been hearing over and over and over and over again. They're lamenting about something, they're venting about something that's really bothering them, a state of their life that they sound like they want to do something about. So, after listening for a while, I may then say, look, I think you really need to do this and such. Have you considered this? Well, I know someone I can connect you with that can help you with that. Or here's an article I read about this. Or let me follow up with you in an email. Let me think about it and get back to you, something like that. And I've done all the things that, someone who cares about someone's situation would do. But then the next time I check in with them, they haven't done anything with the information. Now, it's not because they don't trust me, because we know that trust has been established. It's not because they doubt that I have their best interests at heart. It has nothing to do with that. So what is it exactly? Who knows? At that time, I don't really think they know what it is either. But what I've learned is that when you're trying to persuade, if that's your effort, they need to realize that this isn't something that's just off the cuff. It's really something that you've thought through, certainly. And even though you know that, and they may know that too, it may just not be the time for them to move on this thing. Or maybe they don't want to move on it the way you're suggesting. Or maybe, hey, you're just not the person to even suggest what they do or how they should change what they're doing. And that's something that you have to be honest with yourself about. Now, when I've been mulling over this question and this particular presentation, I really had to take some time and think about how to present it, because the first thing that came to mind to me about it was the fact that for the most part, as grown adults, we're pretty much who we're gonna be. And people don't stray too far from their true north. So unless there's some really life-altering, life-changing, devastating thing or impactful thing that happens to them, they pretty much are going to stay on that path that they've started on, that we met them on. And we have to then accept the fact that until they're ready to maybe make some changes and accept some challenges they may present to themselves in terms of making some incremental differences in their lives, they're not really going to be open to hearing any suggestions from anybody. There's some internal work that they'll need to do first. So what I think, though, is important when we're challenging others to move to this potential reality we see for them, we first have to accept where they are right now. So that means that we have to affirm them as humans being. We have to let them know that we see their journey. We accept where they are. We are amazed and admire the progress that they have made thus far, and the challenge that they have to just be in the situation that they're in. And then we have to let them know that we're there to support them. We're there to help them. And that may not necessarily be that we're the ones that they actually listen to. And we have to be accepting of that as well. So with that caveat, high achiever, are you ready to take on the challenge to present a open and more engaging and envisioning future in terms of challenging someone in that direction and expanding and helping them see a bigger goal and better life for themselves? Are you ready to take that challenge on? Now, I hope that you are, and I hope that you will be open to sharing what comes up for you as you're thinking through that process. And as I mentioned before below this video, there's an opportunity for you to comment, as well as on my YouTube channel. There's a link for you to get connected there, as well as my Facebook page at @GetDianne, CHPC Recertified 2017. I'm really looking forward to see what shows up there. So until next time, have a wonderful Fitting In-Fluence Friday, and thank you so much for participating.